Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland. This video is of Boa Vista, the wonderful orchid nursery I visited in Madeira. You've been very patient waiting this long, but stay tuned and you're sure of a fantastic video. And at the end I've tagged on a bit where I tell you the plants I bought. I am in Orchid Heaven.
Was Sir William Cook that soon after the First World War started to collect orchids, but his daughter Betty, she married Cecil Garton, which was also British. He was with the Royal Air Force for more than 30 years, and later he was the honorary British Consul in Madeira.
Right.
And they got married. She came to live in Madeira, and the orchids were still in England. It was only a few years after living in Madeira that she noticed the climate was better for orchids and decided to bring the plants to Madeira. The orchid flower has to attract the insects like this. This was on the Daily Mail 2 years ago. That's a picture of a Phalaenopsis. It's a very common flower orchid species. This picture here is just a close-up of the center of the flower. See? The pollen is under here, and all the flower wants is to be pollinated. So the flower tries to be the same form as the female of the insect that pollinates the species.
Right. So it mimics what the female of the species looks like.
Yes.
Right.
And each species of orchid has only one species of insect that only pollinates that species of orchid.
We just found this cattleya here. No idea what it is, but look how enormous it is. It's in a washing bowl, like for washing your clothes or the dishes. It goes on and on and on and on. A bit like me, really. Look at this. The tree ferns are coming up between the benching. Now this part of the greenhouse is a bit dilapidated because they lost the roof 5 years ago in a big storm, and they had to wait 5 years to get permission to rebuild. But wow, that's mad. Which came first, the tree ferns or the staging? See this gorgeous Angrycum? I have one of them.
The more expensive one was $2,000, and in 2 days he sold a lot. Made a lot of money.
what? Yes! Result! Result! Thank you for watching my video about the wonderful Boa Vista Orchid Nursery in Madeira. I think you can probably guess I had an absolutely wonderful time there, and I came away with a few plants. So this little tag on at the end of the video is to introduce you to the plants that I bought there. First up, when I was there, Boa Vista had a wonderful deal going on, and that was that you could get 5 plants of their selection for €25. So that works out about €5 each, which is very good in anybody's books. So these 5 plants you see on the table are the ones that I got as part of that deal. The first plant I got in their 5 for 25 deal was this enormous, great big Cattleya called Pastoral Innocence. Now it's a gorgeous large white, and I hope my Bob Betts is not going to be jealous because I've just bought a second large white. But can you imagine getting such a large Cattleya for just €5? It's obviously flowering size, and yeah, I see no reason why this won't do very well for me. The second one in the mix was this Miltonia, and the name of it here, it's got lovely yellow spotted leaves. It's called Miltonia Golden Wonder, and a second colour mixed in there, can't quite remember what it is, but it's a decent size, look at that, a decent size. So I've got that potted up and I really look forward to that. The third one in the mix that I got very excited when I saw was a Gongora. Now, I have wanted a Gongora for a while, so I was very delighted to pick up this one, Galeata, and yeah, super. Now, the 5 plants that they had in this mix, they said could be mixed and matched with other plants they had in their nursery that they had a surplus of. So, on the counter in Boa Vista was a basket containing 5 plants which were part of this deal. And of the 5 on the counter, 2 of them I didn't actually want. Now, one of them was an epidendrum that I already had, and the second was a cymbidium which was actually in flower, but I didn't like the colours. It was too similar to another no ID that I already had. So I asked them if I could take out the cymbidium and the epidendrum and add in 2 other plants. Off we went to the greenhouse, and I came back with this Dendrobium Ellen. Now this is, well, it has Kingianum in its parentage, so it's a warm Dendrobium, and since I have done well with Berioda, another child of Kingianum in the past, I think I should do well with this one. Now, as you can see, it's a decent sized plant and it's already flowered, so we know this is flowering size. And I also came back from the greenhouse with this plant as the final one in my 5 deal. It's a Dendrobium and it's a species 1. Here's one of the species names it goes by. It has 3, interchangeable as far as I can see. And yeah, now I had actually intended to get a nobile type, which I know I do well with, but this one seems to be one that has a dry rest in winter, although not a cold dry rest, which is a bit odd. So I'm not sure. I think I kind of got caught up in the spur of the moment. Perhaps it won't do the best for me really, but it was very hard to stay focused in that greenhouse because there were so many other plants in there that I hadn't seen before. This was a private greenhouse where they were growing things on for sale, and I went in there and, you know, I was looking around and I spotted this. Look at this, it's a Coelogeny, decent sized one. Now, it was very frustrating in that greenhouse because a lot of the fantastic looking stuff they had in there weren't for sale. So even back in the main greenhouse, I had seen the likes of Laturia Dendrobiums in full flower, and I asked, is that for sale? And the answer was, no, we've only got 12 of them, say. So they had 12 of them and they weren't prepared to sell one. I think it just goes to show how much orchid lovers really really grow to love their plants and can't bear to part with them. Anyway, in the greenhouse I spotted the Coleogyny, and this one here is Douentza. So one of the parents of this Coleogyny is Panderata, and I have wanted the green flowered Panderata for quite a while, but it's hard enough to find. So I was delighted when I saw this one. I didn't recognise the name at first, but when I got home and researched it, I was just delighted to get this one because it has the beautiful green flowers of Panderata, but has the advantage that it is easier to cultivate. And the final two plants I picked up were this Miltonia, Queen Anne, which is supposed to have a beautiful scent, so I look forward to that, and an Angrycum. This one here is a Vecchi. Now, I actually thought I was buying the green and white flowered Angrycum that I'd seen in the nursery and I'd seen in the first orchid nursery I went to, but it's not that at all. In fact, this is a parent of the Crestwood one that I already have over there at the back. So perhaps that wasn't the smartest move because this plant is much smaller, and oh well, you know, it's very hard not to get caught up in the spur of the moment and just make impulse purchases. So these are the purchases I made at Boa Vista Orchid Nursery, and I'm very pleased with them and I look forward to growing them. Now, just a little word of advice: if you do go to visit the nursery, ask them for their plant list, because they do have a plant list. Now, it's not completely up to date. There's stuff on there they don't have anymore or can't sell because they don't have enough of them in stock. But at least if you had the plant list, you've got a basis for asking about things. Because I was at first just asking wildly, like, do you have Cattleya dowiana? Do you have Coleogyny panderata? Do you have any Laturia, Dendrobiums? And it was, you know, not the most efficient way to do things. So at least if you have the list, you have some basis to start from. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you'll check back to watch how these plants grow for me. That's all for the moment. Bye now.